Alrighty, so last time we had a look at the basics of back EMF. So now let's have a go at applying this to some questions. Dave's drill was working fine, but then it got stuck in concrete. So maybe just, the concrete was too hard and the drill just couldn't drill through it. Now it's getting hot. Explain why it's getting hot. Let's have a look. So Dave's drill is, it's stuck in concrete now. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that therefore there is no rotation, right? There is no rotation. And of course, if you're stuck in concrete, obviously you're not going to be rotating. If there's no rotation, what does that tell us? Therefore, that there is no change in flux over time, because it's not rotating, and therefore there's none of that beautiful change in flux. Therefore, there is no back EMF, right? By Faraday's law, right? By Faraday's law. Faraday's law, we can say that's right. So there's no EMF. And remember, this EMF that was generated by Faraday's law, this was the back EMF, right? This was the back EMF, right? This was the back EMF. And so, if you remember back to last time, what we really said was that, V net, right? V net actually equals to your V supply minus your back EMF, right? And that's because of Lenz's law. Lenz's law says that our back EMF must be opposing what's creating it. And in this case, what's creating it is that V supply. So then, once we have this, we can say that if back EMF decreases, and obviously the supply EMF must be constant, then that means our V net must increase, right? Our V net must become bigger. Well, if our V net becomes bigger, what will that do? If V net becomes bigger, we know that V is equal to IR, right? V is equal to IR. Therefore, if V increases, then current must increase. And of course, this is so this V net is the voltage across the armature here, right? So this is that's our V net. So if V net increases, that means that our I increases. So the current inside the circuit increases. The current inside the circuit increases. There's more, before 0.5 amps, now it's maybe 2 amps, right? A lot more current running inside compared to when there was back EMF. And so what does that finally give us? Well, therefore, if we have more current running inside, we know that power loss is equal to I squared R. Power loss is equal to I squared R. So therefore, if we increase the current, we'll be increasing the power loss. And this power loss is felt as heat. So we can say that this power loss as heat. So if this power loss is felt as heat, well then therefore the drill gets hot. Simple as that. So let's quickly recap that. So there's a lot of, if you think about one of my previous videos where I talk about how to explain, it's really, a staircase, right? Like you go from this leads to this, no rotation leads to no change in flux over time, leads to no back EMF, leads to a higher net voltage, leads to a higher net current, which leads to an increase in power loss, which is felt as heat. So you really want to work from A to B to C to D. Don't be jumping. Don't go from A to C, right? It would be bad if you went straight from no rotation to no back EMF. You have not explained, right? You have not explained why there is no back EMF. It's because there's no more change in flux over time. So I have a second question for you. When a drill gets stuck in something, sometimes getting stuck for a bit, it breaks free and appears to kind of feel a bit stronger. Account for this using physics. So I'll give you a go, right? Have a go by yourself, and we'll have a go to add it as well. Have you done it? Awesome. So I'll take it that you've done it. So it actually starts out very similarly to before. So when you get stuck, there is no rotation. Once again, there is no rotation. Hopefully you got that. So therefore, there is no change in flux over time. So there is no EMF back, right? Just as before. So therefore, V net is equal to V supply minus EMF back, right? So if we decrease this, then we'll increase this once again. So if we have increase in the net voltage, V is equal to IR. If we increase the net voltage, then of course we'll have to increase the net current. Very similar to before. It's actually identical to what we just did. But if we say that we increase the net current, well then here's where we're going to change it a little bit. Torque is equal to NBIA. So if we increase the current, then we'll increase the torque. And the torque, the torque determines, or if you don't want to use torque, you could also say F is equal to BIL. You increase the force, you increase the current, you increase the force. Torque or force is up to you. So the torque determines how much force is applied by the motor. Right. So if the current increases, if the force increases, this may overcome the this may overcome the resistive forces of the concrete or whatever. Could be anything, right? So as the force increases, this can overcome the thing that's getting stuck against, right? So like whatever it's getting stuck against, if you increase the force enough, it'll push through it, right? So therefore can break free and feels stronger, because it really is stronger. It really does become. You get more current flowing through there. It actually is applying more force. It is stronger. Cool. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget that there is one more after this where we're going to really delve deeply into back EMF. I think it's pretty interesting. Hopefully you do as well. Please come along. We're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of back EMF. See you there.